Welcome to RefugeNation Church. We're glad you've tuned in today. Join us now for a service already in progress, led by our senior pastor, Joe Baker.
What I'm starting to understand today, and as I've been walking with Christ, and as I've known a lot of brothers and sisters and men and women of God who have been walking with Christ, a lot of people don't have a great expectancy anymore. A lot of people has fallen in love with the norm. A lot of people has dumbed themselves down to the point that they are actually dumb now. They really don't know what's going on, and they're just walking around every day just wondering and hoping that things will begin to look different. But if it don't, God, I just thank you, God, for where I'm at, and I'll just sit right here, God, until you come. A lot of people, they started off with a lot of visions, and they had a lot of ideas, and they have actually put forth the effort to actually be something, or maybe one day they actually decided to hear from God and decided to start doing something that God had called them. But eventually, because they were surrounded by many people that didn't believe that God was revolutionizing them, they were able to begin to quit or digress in what God had spoke to them. Everybody say, speak to me, God. It's really important that we understand that when God starts to speak, that we actually start to listen. I want to challenge everyone. When you begin to hear from God, it's important that whatever you hear, don't be in such a rush to go and tell everybody. When we begin to tell everybody, sometimes because God is trying to work something out within our mind and within our spirit, we allow people to sow into it and speak to it when we don't even have a full revelation of what God is trying to actually do. Somebody say, speak to me, God. If we don't allow ourselves the time to hear from God, there's no way that we'll ever be where God has called us to be. That's the reason a lot of people do stop. That's the reason a lot of people do go and stop. That's the reason a lot of people do lose their way, because they're too busy trying to make sure that they're being applauded and everybody is seeing and noticing everything that God has spoken in their life. Nothing worse than somebody moving ahead and moving out and beginning to do what God has called them to do, but they're moving so fast that they're ahead of God. I don't know if anybody ever walked ahead of God. God gave you an idea, but you begin to move fast. But when you begin to move fast, you couldn't do two things at the same time. So now you lost God in your movement. It's important that we make sure that when God begins to revolutionize us, that we sit still until we have complete understanding of what God is trying to do. I don't know if y'all ready for this type of talk right here. I believe that God has birthed in us and has spoken into us some big things, has spoken to us some large things, has spoken to us some things that's impossible. If it's a revolution, you must understand that it ain't simple. Some of the things that God has spoken to you and told you what you're going to be, it ain't simple. It's not your regular type of stuff. It's not your sitting on the edge of the chair at home looking at TV type of stuff. It's not your pad just riding down the street on your bicycle type of stuff. It's not even your walking down the aisles of the mall type of stuff. God done gave some people some big things, and you sitting there reducing it to little. I'm here to talk to some people that God is trying to revolutionize and trying to actually take you up somewhere and take you somewhere big, but you're too busy hanging around little stuff. I got to make sure that everybody understands this. What God is trying to do, if you're around people that don't agree with you, got to move. Whatever God is trying to do with you, if people do not agree with it, it's important that you begin to move. If they can't see you being what God has called you to be, move. If they can't accept what God has called you to do, move. If you don't move, you will begin to lose your ear to God and begin to hear their idea and thought. And then you'll begin to try to merge the two, which will then become a counterfeit revelation. I don't know if anybody into counterfeit revelations, but when God is trying to do something with you, you got to get away from anything that won't agree. Be careful for someone that got so much to say when God has already spoken. Somebody say, speak, God. Oh, y'all ain't gonna like this. I already got it in my mind. I already see a couple already a little fidgety, because they're gonna have to actually lose some good people. They ain't gonna be able to sit down at the table with the same people no more. They ain't gonna be able to sit down. They ain't gonna be able to watch Facebook no more like that. They ain't gonna be able to keep up with the Twitter, because when God is trying to revolutionize you, it's not important to know what everybody else saying. And some of us, we're looking at these things for encouragement, and we're looking at these things when God is trying but you're too busy trying to see something. God is trying to do something big with you, and you have narrowed it down to Facebook. You have narrowed it down to Instagram. You have narrowed all your time down to Twitter. And everything that you're trying to do, you can't find it in there. All of your minutes and your hours are being consumed by something that will not propel you forward. But then when we begin to work on what God said, we don't have that much time, or we sleep. And we're tired. See, we don't want to hear from the voice of God that long. We just want to hear a little bit. And God, that little bit is enough for me to be able to live off of. And that's the reason you always fail. Because we don't sit there and wait till he is. So we may have started off with a great idea, but the idea would turn bad because we didn't finish hearing the instructions that was coming from the word. And the word was God. But if we don't sit there long enough, we can't be able to excel at the pace. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not into having a revelation and God telling me what I'm going to be if I'm not willing to sit there and sit still and hear what he got to. Oh, y'all don't like this. We got to get to a place where we say, God, I just want to hear from you. God, I'll wait and hear from you. God, I'll sit here and hear from you. God, I'm willing to be stupid for a minute and hear from you. God, I'm willing to be without for a while if I got to hear from you. God, I ain't trying to shine because I'm just trying to hear from you. I don't need a new car. I don't need a bunch of friends. I don't need these things because I just need to hear from you. Amen. I got to go without for a minute because I don't want anything to become distractions from me being able to hear my complete assignment. And I'm trying to add things and add things and add things, and now I can't really hear from God because I'm still trying to add things to others. Oh, y'all don't think that. Oh, man. I don't know if we want to hear this. But we got to get to a place where if God is trying to revolutionize you, then everything else doesn't matter.
That's right. That's right.
Only the things that can't be moved are allowed to stay. Somebody just said, hold on, man, what is that? You can't move everything. If you're married, you can't move that.
Okay.
You can't move your children. You can't move that. You can't move your leader. You can't move me. I know you want to move me, but you actually can't move me. I know you want to, but you can't. You can't move certain pieces. Certain pieces actually got to stay there because they're the people. They're the pieces that's the reason you are where you are.
Okay. That's right. Right.
Sometimes we start giving revelations, and all of a sudden we thinking we're going to get divorced, and God is cool with that. I just want to throw that out there because I don't want you to think that God has spoken to me, and that means I got to leave my marriage. No, that ain't what that means. I was following you for a minute. God was speaking, but I was with you, but certain things can't move. Somebody said experience is the best teacher. I remember I tried that right there, but the reality is the teacher is the best teacher. Don't move your teacher. I need you to let that sit in for a minute. Don't move your teacher. Man, where would I be if I moved past the way? That was my teacher. Man, he taught us a lot of things. A lot of things that we were even too young to understand. I don't know if anybody ever had that kind of teacher. The teacher that's teaching and you don't even realize they're teaching until 5 years old. He taught me. He showed me. Sometimes a teacher's 5, 10 years out. 15 years out. It might come off like a waste of time until you actually start to move and advance into who you really going to be. Nothing is better than the teacher. God is great. As long as you have a teacher that's talking from God. And it's important that we understand that when it comes to God, he will begin to speak through the teacher. That's why it's important to have a teacher. You ain't going to pass your class if you don't have no teacher.
That's right. All right.
I'm sure you ain't going to pass no exams if you don't got no teacher. I'm doing in-home study. All right, okay, well, you got to still get online and talk to your teacher. if you don't, then you probably ain't gonna get out the class. I'm just trying to feel y'all out for a minute because we like to sit down and y'all always try to make me sit down and talk, and I don't really want to talk to y'all today. I don't want to talk to y'all like that today. I want to make sure that we're understanding that we know what God has called, and if we don't know what he's called us to be, then we need to actually sit still for a minute. The Bible says that when he began to go out there, these guys were washing their nets. They was finished with what they were doing, and it wasn't good with what happened. Would you believe that maybe God is trying to save you from working yourself out of depression? I got to make sure, because some of us, we haven't actually heard from God and all of these types of things, and because things ain't go out the way we thought it was going to actually happen, we started washing our nets, Brother Adrian. But while we washing the nets, we getting sad. What are we going to feed everybody? What are we going to eat? What am I going to tell everybody? I've been out here trying to do all this stuff, and nothing ain't happening. And in our mind, we're giving up.
All right, all right.
I ain't going to do this no more. Then all of a sudden, the teacher comes. And he say, I need to borrow your boat. Just push your boat out a little bit, but you stand right here because you need to listen.
All right.
See, my goal is to talk you out of giving up. Oh, y'all sit still so much. My goal is to talk you out of giving up. My goal is to talk you out of quitting. My goal is to talk you out of thinking about divorce. My goal is to talk you out of trying to not be the best parent that you can be. My goal is to talk you out of not thinking that it's okay to quit school. My goal is to talk you out of not thinking that I can quit and sit here and lay and be nothing. My goal is to make you be something. Because if God is trying to revolutionize you, then there must be a revolution. There's got to be a word that's in front of you that will make you not be something that you're not. And if you're a child of God, then you're supposed to be everything. Launch the boat out so I can sit down and talk to him. I don't know why all the preachers, why we always got to stand up. I remember somebody said, I said, man, can I just sit on a stool? And that's old school. They say, well, we got to have a platform. As long as it's a platform, then everybody knows that you're the boss because you're sitting up higher than them. I've been in church a long time. I'm sorry. But yeah, I have asked those stupid questions like that. I just want to know why we got to stand up and everybody got to sit down for you. Everybody know who you are. You finally understand they got to see who we are, but why we got to do these things? See, that's the things that the teachers teach. Jesus sat on the boat and he began to teach them, Brother Wiggins. And while he began to teach them, then after he finished giving them the word, he said, launch the boat back out and cast your nets. See, there's some people in here that have gave up, and God is telling me to tell you today to go back out and try again. Go back out and try again. What is it that you quit? What is it that got you sitting there thinking you can't, you ain't good enough, you ain't qualified, you ain't certified? Go back out there and try again. Go back out there and fill that application out at the jobs you actually want to work at. Go back out and try again. I know they turned you down. I know you ain't qualified. I know you ain't finished with all the school and all the proper things that you're supposed to have. But when you understand, when God said go back out and try again, then you understand that there was a word. See, that's why we can't get forward. See, when God starts speaking, when he say go, it's different from me going out there because I wanted to go fishing. I'm just trying to help y'all. Y'all are working with me a little bit. But it's different because God has called me to go out there this time. This time, God said go out there. It's a difference when I go out there versus when God said go out there. That's why it's important that we got to learn to wait for God and hear what God says before we go out, because if we don't go out, we will work ourselves into depression. I don't have time to sit around and work hard at something God haven't even said that was going to happen. I don't have time to be sitting out here sacrificing and spending every dollar I have and God ain't saved. See, these are the things that lead you to depression. I don't have the time to try to fit in and fit in and fit in when I already know they don't want me in. See, you got to understand, I can't go into depression. But if you get to working hard and you get to doing things ahead of God because you're not listening to God anymore, what do you think going to happen? What is the actual outcome? family hungry. Oh man, I'm really starting to get depressed now. It's been 3 days in a row and we ain't caught nothing. It's been a year we ain't really had no real fishing lately. Even when they say the croakers are running, they ain't running. Then when they're running, they too small. They all throwback, they ain't even paying size. Then what we can catch, I gotta throw back because it's not legal to take it in. Working myself into depression. It's a good idea, but if God ain't say it, then it is a horrible idea. You might get lucky a little bit and get escape from a few things, but trust me, if you don't learn to adjust yourself to the ear of God, in other words, God, I need to hear you, and then you move, then you'll always see yourself starting over again. Time don't come back. Time is spinning. Trust me, I don't heal the same way that I used to. Time is not the same. I fracture my finger, it don't act right for a while. I'm talking about like maybe 2 months type stuff. Like, yo, what is going on with this finger? I thought I was healed. See, you can't get your time back is what I'm saying. And as you get older, you can't go after it the way you used to could have. That's why it's important that I save my energy and be conservative with my energy so that when God say go, I'm not exhausted. Some of y'all got to catch what I'm trying to say. I can't be exhausted when God say go. And we fall into a position where we're tired and when we do hear him. So when we do hear him, we slothful with it. We slothful. Hard-headed. Hard-headed. Peter said, you know what? We've been fishing out there all night. But if you say, I'm willing to go back out there and look stupid for you. Because we done watched and we done spent all this time. Now you talking about go back out and throw it into the salt? We got to get out of the habit. See, whenever God starts revolutionizing you, you got to look stupid for a while. Like real talk. You got to actually look like, how in the world Joe trying to go out there and start a church with him and 12 teenagers? I mean, I'm just trying to say, how you think you going to happen? They don't even have enough money to pay offering. Man, we sat in here and we started our church, we were getting $100 for offering. What y'all talking about? This church started off $100 offerings. You got to be able to look stupid for a minute. Nobody qualified. I know. But I know what God said this time. And so if God said, then I'm planning right. I'm doing it right. So that means I got to actually start building. But I see y'all, I lost all y'all friends and everybody. I know who walked away. See, y'all don't want to look stupid. You think everybody have to be in agreement for you, for people, for you to feel like people believe that you actually heard from God. You're looking for people to validate you. Nah, better yet, you're looking for people to validate God. So you mean to tell me if somebody on your third row don't agree with it, you didn't hear from God? See, God deliver us from people. Deliver us from people. Too many people are losing their dreams and everything that God has called them because they looking for people. They believe in people. Give me 12 people that don't. Give me 12 people that love me and I'm good. I don't know why them cats love me still to this day. They actually love me, but look at them now. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know I'm talking to some people. Because your dreams have actually been killed. still thinking, should I go and throw this net? But you got people's faces and their images has been burned into your mind to the point that you can't even drum up enough faith to think you can. Somebody can see somebody laughing at it already. You hear them, you stupid girl. You dumb. Oh, I better not do that because I don't want them to laugh at me. But God spoke. So, what do you mean? I'm going to tell you something. Somebody told me right here. This is some old school talk I'm about to share with you. But I thank God for people like my granddaddy and my dad and all those people that used to sit around at the edge of the table and talk about God until they got exhausted and fell asleep. That everybody was like, I don't want to sit at that table because all they do is talk about God. But because I was a kid, I couldn't remove myself. I had to be obedient. If I did too much moving, I'd get smacked upside the head or something like that. So I learned to sit there. So while I'm sitting here, I might as well go ahead and listen, even though I don't halfway understand everything. But maybe one day I'll catch up to it. This is going to be heavy for y'all. But when you plant, when God gives you something to do, you got to understand this. You're planting. You're actually about to grow something. But you name me anything that grows without fertilizer. That went over your head. Fertilizer is your haters.
That's good, Pastor.
Fertilizer, that's your haters. They stink. It don't smell good. You got something good in the ground, but all this nasty stuff around it. The stuff ain't growing because you don't want fertilizer. When God starts telling you to do something, you need doo-doo around you. I'm sorry if that word too strong. Sister Wade ain't here, so it should be straight in this room. You actually need something in there that stinks up the place. See, if you don't have that, then how can you call it a revelation? A revelation is for those who don't believe. So the question is, do you believe first? Because once you believe, now God can do what he's trying to do through you for them. I need my doo-doo around me. I need that. I need to stink around me because the stink makes me either stay focused or lose focus. But if I can stay focused, it shows God that I'm mature enough for what he has for me. See, y'all got to understand, when God is moving you, you got to be mature about it. But if people can sit there and talk and sync up your vision and you quit and then you're walking out and you don't know what you're going on, you ain't mature enough for what God was trying to do. You need your fertilizer. Fertilizer in this room right now. You know, see, I've been in church a long time, so you got the silent fertilizer now, but you still think I'm snag. You know how the old people, they can go outside and they can just smell rain. It's gonna rain tomorrow. Sunny day outside, it's clear sky, sun up to 100 degrees. I smell rain. I've been hated on for a while. And I've come to a point of smiling don't make me feel guaranteed that you're actually down. I've been down there before. Got me up, high-five me. I just sat there and listened to a lady. She said when she ran for president, everybody in the church voted for her. But they was really just trying to move somebody out. She said it was only one indefinite and one person that said no. So, of course, like anybody else, we say one said no. Who is that? But then when she actually got the job and she voted in, then she couldn't find nobody that said yes. That one said right across here. Just because people waving their hands saying it down with you don't mean they really are. Y'all understand that, right?
Yes.
Just because they carrying your drumsticks and carrying your keyboard don't mean they down with you.
That's right. That's good.
Just because they coming to your shows and your events don't mean that they down with you.
That's good.
Just because they joining your church don't mean that they down with you. They just ain't got nowhere else to go right now. Y'all don't like this right here? It's important for you to understand where God is taking you. Don't get so quick. Don't be so quick to add people to it. Which brings me to my next point. Something they used to say around the table. This is now hey, Bro Wiggins, I'm sitting right at the table now. Granddaddy talking. Back in the day when they used to plant gardens and everything, they used to put fences around it. See, y'all don't see that stuff right there. Y'all don't know about that garden, the real garden. Yeah, now, they came up with all this stuff, spray on your apples, they just walk away type stuff. But they used to fence up everything. And the reason they fenced it up is to protect it and keep it away from all the critters that will come and try to eat on what you got. Whatever God gave you, you better be careful to not add nothing new.
That's right.
I ain't never seen nobody on the way up and a whole bunch of people showed out the woodwork and wanted to be a part.
Yeah.
You ain't on your way up if you ain't got nothing established around you to go up.
That's good. That's good, Pastor. That's good.
I got an idea, but I don't have establishment. You're not on your way up yet. Take your time, pace yourself. Because you're gonna allow some critters to come in your section. And when they come in, right when you thought you actually was about to receive a harvest, now you're looking at all your grapes gone, all your potatoes gone, your watermelon gone, everything you planted is gone.
Yep.
Boy, that is a word and that helps somebody. If this is going to be a year of revolution for you, revelation for you, fence your garden. When you're hearing from God, you don't need to add a bunch of extra. Because if you heard from God, then you already have everything you need. So maybe you're struggling with self-esteem instead. See, you got to know which one, you got to know what area you're weak in before you start blaming God and stuff like that. You're doing the job, but you ain't confident. God telling you, but some are reading, you don't even got the strength to throw your net out there. Throw your net out, is what he told them. And then you know the rest of the story. They threw it out there. Utter obedience to the word. But what I really want to talk to you about, because now that you know how to hear from God, you know how to be obedient to God. Now God got to put you on your knees to qualify you to lead. Brother Greg, you can't lead till you hit your knees. So I was just a fisherman, but once I started obeying God and doing whatever God said do, now I got to kneel to God. And now God said, because you kneel, now I can make you a leader of men. Don't take that credit for God when he do what he going to do through you. Because if you take it, then you wasn't on your knees. And that means that you thought that it was your ability and your power and your gift that got you there. And so now you got to start the process over, but more than likely, it ain't going to be the same test. It ain't going to be the same test. What I'm going to do is, you got them all right. In the end, took all the credit. Just do it over again. Nah, we got to make the test difficult. We got to send you back through the learning process. And some of us, we did, so I know, because you say I. If you see right there, everything said they. How's the church going? Because they. How are we moving? Because of they. It went from 12 to 40 to 60 to 100 because of they. Not no Joe Baker. What Joe? He preaching everybody into membership. No, I'm not. It's they. That was something that actually happened before I got on this mic. And it was more than just me that was a part of this. I'm not standing in the teenage class. I'm not standing in the kids class. Something is going on. Who is they? See, when you're produce more numbers. God can do big things with a group of people that is willing to work together. That's why all of a sudden when they drop one in, all of a sudden the overflow, yo, everybody else, they come here.
That's good.
They. Yo, man, he calling us, man, let's roll our boats over there. Oh, man, snap, yo, don't throw the net out there. Everybody getting all pumped up, everybody getting all amped up. Yo, what's all this about? Where did this just happen? That's the revolution, because we know we've been fishing all day. And then God just done something amazing. And you know it had nothing to do with you. So it's important that when God do something amazing with you, that you don't forget to get down on them knees. Thank God. And now, because of that, this is crazy because I was looking at this. Briggs would probably really like this. It's because of your work is the reason you're able to work yourself out of something.
Right. Yeah.
You want to move, you want to advance, you want to really excel. You got to work to get out of it.
Right.
Mark, that's all right there.
That's good stuff, sir. Real good.
So you think you're going to advance without working or working a little bit? It's really interesting because when they threw the net there, it was so heavy that they couldn't even lift it. It was like, OMG. You know, you straighten up, pull the muscle out there. Like, yo, man, I broke my finger trying to pull the net up. He fell in the water trying to get the net up. There's going to be some struggle here. You got to work your way out to your next level. Because he worked his way out of it, he became a disciple. Some of us, we want to be disciples, but we ain't working. So you can't be a disciple unless you're willing to work for it. Now that would have been good, sitting around a bunch of people that wanted to be preachers and stuff. But know what is good for even us in this room? Because I know that God is going to do something amazing in this ministry. And it's more people that's needed to do it.
That's good.
I'm sure that there's people looking at me right now, and God has called you to do ministry. Has given you the gift to do ministry, to build people, to build departments. Are you willing to work for it, or do you need the title first? See, the old school, this old school talk for a minute. The old school, man, I was licensed before I even got a license. It was like, Pastor, I saw you install somebody. Is it my turn yet? You can set yourself back 2 years, ask. Did this boy just come and ask me when I'm going to ordain him? You done got set back 2 years because you asked. You couldn't walk up to nobody talking about ordaining you for nothing. You better work. Well, what's my name? What's my title? Joe. Man, I'm working hard around this thing. Joe. Sat in the office one day just out the blue, just talking. Say, yeah, I got your license down here in the drawer. You want it? Man, I thought I was going to get a trial sermon or something. Well, you know, can you do mine? Wait, everybody else get theirs? Nah. It don't have you, because you preach in front of everybody don't make you know minister. What makes you a minister is working with one purpose and goal in mind. And that is to lead people to Christ. Is there anybody in here that's really trying to be a disciple? Because we're living in a world where nobody's willing to sacrifice anymore.
That's good.
And it can be really difficult because you're seeing people that you know you better than that's already qualified. So it makes you feel less than. See, I love the way this all works now that I'm a lot older and I'm growing, and I like it then because Pastor Wade made sure we stuck to this. But it really feels good to know that I earned it. People shout when they get college degrees. Why? They ain't get paid and still ain't getting paid. But they earn. See, we're living in a day where nobody want to earn nothing. I mean, we can say this all in relationships. Did they earn you? Y'all know that man, I ain't gonna do that too. Well, somebody just said, oh shoot, man, I was following you now, but now you done said that. But you're free. See, we gotta understand that if we're not willing to work hard, then how much value should a person really have? See, when you start studying, you start a business, and you got to work hard. You got to actually format it, put together a plan. You got to stay up all night. You got to sit there and cry over your plans. Are you working hard for it?
That's good, man.
Are you investing in it? Investing ain't for immediate reaction.
That's good. That's right. That was good.
Are you an investor? See, you got to be doing this stuff. Some people, you actually got to do this stuff for years before anybody ever noticed you. Can you handle that?
That's right.
But I heard from God. That's got to be a thing. God, I know what you said. God, I know. Man, you should be getting paid for what you're doing. But God, I know what you said. See, that's when people going to start throwing you off base. If you start forgetting and you can't hear God, then you start listening to everybody else. Now you off base.
That's good.
I've been doing this for 3 years and nothing ain't happening. No produce. Where is it at? Dang, you done messed yourself up now. You should have never said that. You done sold it into the air. And Satan was like, jump start. He snatched your stuff right out the sky. Is this for anyone in this room? Where God taking you in 2014, you got to invest in what you're doing. If you got up here your family, invest in it. If this your job, invest in it. Start reading books. Start doing whatever you got to do to excel. Sometimes you just can't excel by mistake. I mean, sometimes you actually got to get dirty a little bit. You know, I know work over and everything. You done work 8 hours, but sometimes you literally got to go home and work 2 more hours on your job. It's cool. Invest in it. Nobody don't see. I ain't a supervisor. That's supervisor work. See, that's where you all messed up. Because you ain't generous in what you're doing. You too busy wanting to take, but you don't know how to do more than. See, you got to be able to, oh my God, this is crazy.
You talking about yourself.
You too busy just trying to do enough. But then you want God to supersede and what? You do enough, but God do more than. What sense does that make? I'm going to do enough to keep the job, but God, I'm believing you're going to do more than. And we done bought all that same behavior even in our worship to God.
Right. Wow.
And then we're trying to figure out why stuff ain't working.
Wow. That's good.
It's not working because you're not working. See, I done got to a point where I just got to start being real with me. So now, because it's becoming even more real with me today, I can't actually sit in front of you and not avoid. I can't avoid this. You know how sometimes when you're preaching, you try to avoid stuff. Because if I step into this, I might step into my situation. But you want God to do something. You want him to revolutionize you, and you want a revelation to happen through you, but you're not even doing things that align with revelation. Revelation comes with obedience.
Right. That's good, Pastor.
That's just, this porch talk. We want God to do something, but we don't want to do nothing right. Hey, when is that word, Greg? That word, Brother Greg? about if you said throw the net out? I throw the net out. We don't see nowhere where he said you tripping. He might have thought something, but even he was man enough to realize this dude is Jesus Christ. This dude is Jesus Christ. And then he's Jesus Christ, and I'm just Peter. I'm just Peter. I'm the dude over here washing nets. And this dude got people listening. If you say do it, then I'll just do it. Whatever God is telling you to stop, stop.
We pray that this message has been one that you can use in your everyday life. If you ever find yourself in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, please join us for worship. We would love to meet you. We are RefugeNation Church, where everybody is somebody.